Hello and welcome to Pergola Part 2. So you can see there down on the ground I've got my bits of wood that I need. That's two 4.8 meter lengths of 9x2 and then two 4.8 meter lengths of 5x2. So obviously went through it with the last one, how we're going to do it. I'll just show you, for example, here. So because none of the fence posts are level, I'm having to do a bit of a workaround. So for example, you can see what's going to happen there. The 9x2 is going to sit on the front edge of this post, and that mark about an inch above the fence post on the trellis is the level height to this fence post over there on the right with the ferns on it that aren't doing too well. So in a normal circumstances that would be fine. I wouldn't need to do anything with that. I'd just put that bit of wood on the 9x2 and then put two big bolts going through it. That's happy days. But as we work ourselves back down the fence, this one here, you can see that it's virtually nearly only half hanging on and off. And this one here hasn't got anything above it, so if I notched out where it says 9x2, I'd have half of it overhanging the top, if that makes sense. I wouldn't have anything to bolt into. So what I've done with that is worked my way this way, getting the heights for all the 9x2s, and then because this is lowest, I've measured what the gap was above, hanging out above, got a bit of wood to match that, and then I can just sit it on this fence post. This fence post I need to take out that 3cm chunk right in the top left, and then this one over here I actually need to take that whole sort of top left corner out, as you can see where I've marked the 5x2 there, and then that will give me the strength all the way along I need, and be happy days. So yeah, the height is dictated by this end, but what I need to do first is this end, because this with the sun, the Hildebrandiana is going some. I reckon I've got 2 weeks before that reaches the top, and I don't want it to have nowhere to go, because I think climbers, from what I've seen, when they reach the top of something and they can't go anywhere, that's when they bush out. But I want this one to get as long as possible with the lead one, if you see what I mean. I don't know if that actually works out, but that's just my inkling on it. So yeah, I reckon I've got about 2 weeks to get this cross brace across from the bananas across to where the trellis is on the right, and in order to do that I need to get this these big bits of wood on, so that's what I'm going to do. So annoyingly, 4.8 meters off of that back fence on the left comes out, and it's about 10 centimeters short of meeting up with this post. Off of this fence on the right, 4.8 comes out, and it's actually about halfway between the posts that ends up. So what I'm going to do is, instead of it sitting on the fence post that you can't see that's against the fence, instead of it sitting on there, I'm going to have it so that the end, you know, the end of the big long bit of wood is going to sit half on that fence post on the right, and then it will come sit across all these three, and then it'll overhang that bit at the end. And then if I need to, because it's going to be hidden by the trellis, and as you can see, I can put some sort of struts in there to, if I need to strengthen it. But it doesn't need to be super strong, but obviously if I can, I will. So that's the plan. Yeah, so plan of action for me now. You can see the stuff I've got over here. I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just sort of best guessing it. So I've got some nice big screws to go do the 5x2 down into the post. I've got these big coach bolts with the these are, you know, so they're there, so it gives it a nice bit, and then I can just saw off the excess, because I think they're about 30 centimeters too long for what I need. But 30 centimeters, 3 centimeters. Got me big drill bit for drilling through for the post, nice new saw, and then some metal straps if I need them, and me drill bag, which is absolutely horrific and got about 1 million drill bits in it. Yeah, so plan of attack: take the trellis off, notch out that first one there, notch out this one here, notch out this one here, set the wood up on it, see what happens, get the 5x2, see if I can get that on there all level, bolt it up, and then that'll give me all my points for the rest of it. So yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, I've got a grin ear to ear on my face. I'm loving it. That is looking exactly as I wanted it to. So yeah, I'm a happy boy. It's worked as well, because with all of it, it's quite difficult to get it going, but if I get up on the thing, look at that, nice and level with the one at the back all the way down. Same with that one there. That makes it nice and strong. It means on ones like this, I obviously haven't done it yet, but I've got the bolt going into the bottom half, and then I've got the bolt, I'll put the bolts going into the top half, level them up. And when I mean by that, I mean like the big bit tilting forwards and backwards, get that right, set the bolts, and then in these gaps here, this one's not too bad. It was the first one I did, funny enough, but if we get over to this one, yeah. I'll sort of get it all set, get it all right, and then I'll whip around with some brown silicone just to seal the gaps up, just so it's got a bit, it'd be good because it's got a little bit of flex then for if it takes on a load of water or shrinks or whatever. So that'll be all right. Yeah, and then I went way OTT on the bolts, but once it's all in there and set, I can just hacksaw off the end of them. But yeah, I am really happy with that. That is happy days. So as stated, they don't quite reach this post over here. It probably won't need to, but I'll worry about that at a later date. But up this end, we're half and half, so that's good. So now my next decision is going to be whether the two bits I've got there, whether I carry on what I've been doing there across to here, or maybe I decide if I'm going to use the same 9x2 to go from the fence post on the left to the fence post on the right and sit on top of this I've just put in, whether I actually just do that bit over there and then it's done and I don't have to worry about it, as in it's done, as in the honeysuckle can climb up, and then I can carry on finishing the trellis in and putting the little struts across it as and when I need to. So that might be an idea. But otherwise, yeah, it's good. And the best thing about it all is if I come from this angle, bearing in mind it's all going to be covered in climbers in the end, but if I just step inside the door there, you'll notice there's something missing. That's the windows from the other house. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It's, you know, if you think obviously the washing's out, I apologise for that, but you know, what can you do? It's a sunny day. But yeah, if you think when it's all bushed out, so if we had like these two here and the banana, there was another banana over by the other one, or when it all bushes out, the cyathea and the fatsia and all that, if I get the canopy right, that's just going to stick its head out above and just cover a bit of the roof, that's going to be really nice and sort of enclosed, as if you have to sort of come out, duck under things and then walk through that gap into a big waterfall and things like that. So yeah, I'm really happy. Anyway, we'll see how we do. This may be the end, or I may do some more. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in a bit. Cool. This one is being alright. Pain in my bottom. You can see the issues I'm having to deal with. Not only, if we look down there, can you see the edges are nice and straight, but then as I come up, you can see it twists the fence posts out towards the right, sort of thing. That back right corner is out, so not only is it not dead square, as you can see by the way I've had to cut it, I've just done that bit high, but also this saw is at shoulder height. I'm stood on a little ladder, so I'm having not only to push the trellis out, because there's actually a bit of pressure on that, and hold that, which means that I'm also pushing down on this section, which makes it difficult, but also the way I'm having to saw it is sort of my right shoulder to my right elbow is like against my chest, pointing down towards my belly button, and then my hand is kind of upturned like that, and I'm having to do that sort of thing. So yeah, it's nice and interesting, but basically it's because I'm lazy and couldn't be bothered to take it all apart, all the trellis, because it's got the Tracheospernum jasminoides going up through it. So yeah, back one's going to be really interesting. I may have to break the multi-tool out, because that's actually two bits together rather than a fence post. So, but yeah, we'll see how we do. You'll soon find out. Okay, so you can obviously see which way I went with it in the end. I did this bit over here, so that's all nicely done, and doesn't it look fantastic, just like the how it makes that bottom camellia corner, sort of frames it, if you see what I mean. It's yeah, definitely made a lot of difference. I'm really happy. So last thing I'm going to do, well, I'm going to head down to do some research of pub garden pergolas shortly. So the last thing I'm going to do is just cut that last bit of wood to length that sits on the top, but whereas the one on the other side is held in by the trellis over there, you can see just sticking its head up by the basketball net. The neighbour, this one hasn't got anything, and as I'm not going to do my final fixings just yet, I don't want to leave it up there, so I'll just cut it to length and pack up basically. But yeah, happy with an afternoon's work. I did nip off and do a couple of jobs, so it's much later in the afternoon now. So really all I've got to decide is what I'm going to do with the cross bracing go across there. I would assume it's going to be as easy as notch out the sort of face towards us wherever it's going to marry up with the beam that goes across, and then kind of notch out the beam and hook it on the top sort of gist. Just needed to decide how much I want to overhang it and if I want to kind of shape on the overhang, because that will obviously stipulate what I'm going to do for all the rest of them when I eventually get there. But yeah, really happy. It's looking good. If you want to see what I've done at this side, I did half think about it when I was building all this, because what it was, sorry, I'm like really health and safety would have a field day where how I'm working, but the distance between these two fence posts was a bit bigger than that trellis, so I built it out so that you can see I can just tap it into that at the top, and then I thought I might need something like this, so I actually strapped another bit on. So that's kind of, you can see the green fence post like over there, and then that's 2 bits of 4x2, so it effectively is the same, the two of them together is the same dimensions as the fence post. But yeah, that's worked out quite well. And then when it's all set in, I can bolt in from the outside, and then if I ever want to put some gutter in on the tin roof here and run it across to the water butt, I've got a nice option for that. So yeah, happy days. So really I'm not too worried about this end, to be honest with you, because that's going to take a bit of thinking of this whole area, because A, it's going to have a roof on it, and B, I need to straighten the fence post up that's got the irrigation going to it, the one in the actual fence, and all sorts of business going on there. So I don't know how I'm going to get sort of 3 or 4 things attached to that fence post with the ferns on it and make it all sturdy and all that, but we'll get to that another day. So really, yeah, I just got to decide what sort of wood I want to you know, run across the top of all that, finish up the trellis in, put all the struts in, and then that'll be ready for that giant honeysuckle, which I reckon has grown 5 inches today. It started off this morning there, and it's come away. You can almost see the new growth there. So yeah, happy days. Let's have one last look anyway. Yeah, really happy with that. Happy days. See you next time.